guys, welcome back. I am excited to be here to do a tarot unboxing for you guys today. And it has been a minute, and I apologize for the fact that you're not gonna see the ripping open of the package on this video. The reason for that is that I started filming this video earlier on my Canon camera, and I was just not getting the quickness of focus that I needed in showing the cards. So I decided to just go ahead and start over filming on my phone. So hopefully we can get a little bit better quality. And the deck that I'm opening today is called the Tarot of the 1001 Nights. So I've only taken a look at just a couple of these cards already. I put them back in the box. So we have the opportunity to look at this deck together. And I don't know why focusing is not my friend today because, okay, there we go. So this is the beautiful packaging for the Tarot of the 1001 Nights, which is a tarot deck which is based on Arabian folk tales. And this is published by Lo Scarabeo, that Italian publishing company. And you can still get this deck. It's available. If I can find a link, I will put that down below for where you can order this. This was a deck that was published in 2005, and it says that the artwork is by Leon Carre. Again, you guys know I always say I hate to think that I am just totally mispronouncing these names. As a person with kind of an uncommon name, there's not a lot of Nahas out there. I understand the frustration with people mispronouncing your name. And I find that, you know, even when somebody says, well, maybe my name sounds different in English than it would in the language that where you were born, I think, well, if it's your name, it's your name. And I don't think that it should be changed to make somebody else feel comfortable saying it in their language. So I tell my clients this all the time. Especially for people who have a name that has two common pronunciations. For instance, a good example is Tara or Tara. Choose which one represents you and own it. You know, for people who are like, oh, just call me whatever, I don't even care, it's often because they're just so frustrated with always having to correct people. But I feel as though you should be respectful, because the pronunciation of a name does change the energy of that name. It's different sounds are stronger, other sounds are softer and gentler, and not just pronunciations but spellings as well. You know, spelling a name with a C versus a K does change the energy. So be respectful of people, and it never hurts to ask. So this deck I thought was really cool for the fact that maybe it was going to be a little bit of a departure from the classic images that we're so used to seeing. You know, most decks are in some way derivative of the traditional imagery that we know, the Marseille deck, the Rider-Waite deck, or even, you know, Crowley's Thoth Tarot. A lot of decks pull from those. Those are sort of some of the standards, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Those are the traditional images. And, you know, of course, there are many other old traditional Italian decks, which also are considered classics, through which we derive a lot of inspiration from more modern decks. But in the case of a deck such as this, what we are oftentimes finding is that the inspiration is going to be these different tales, in this case, these different Arabian folk tales. And, you know, we'll see if some of these actually do kind of line up, or if we think about those 22 different archetypes that are present in the tarot, the 22 major arcana. We should be able to find these 22 ideas regardless of which culture, which tradition. There are 22 ideas which are understandable by all of mankind. And they really are the secrets. They are the keys, and they are the reason which I have chosen to name my school of Hermetic Sciences the 22 Teachings. They are the 22 magical keys, whether they represent the 22 paths of the Tree of Life, the 22 letters of the Hebrew or Phoenician alphabet, 22 deities in the Sumerian pantheon, whatever those things represent to you. They are the 22 puzzle pieces of the universe. They're universally understood ideas, and they can be interpreted through different expressions, different stories, different mythologies. So we might as well just go ahead. The card that happens to be on top, because I did already open this deck, it says that the name of this card is Danger, and it's actually the Devil card. But as you can see, we have these cool kind of serpents here, and there's a little hero down here fighting, looking like they're in danger. Okay, you know what? I was wrong, because this next card is the Devil. Ah, I see. This is the Tower. This is a card that would correspond to the Tower, that Danger card. So here is the Devil. We see this demon coming down out of the clouds. And here is the Temperance card. Here we see somebody flying up, two people flying on the wings of an angel. And I'm sorry that I don't have more of an ability to reference what the stories are for you guys, because I'm just not that familiar with the tales of the 1001 Nights. Although, you know, I did, here's the Magician. As a child, I loved folklore. Some of my favorite books were the Hans Christian Andersen fairy tales. Did you guys read those as kids? I think, you know, a lot of people probably did. And I just remember them, a lot of them being like really gory and kind of really dark as far as children's books go. You know, there's the one about the little girl that gets the piece of glass like in her eye. It seems like there was always like, you know, some kind of injuries were happening. They were walking on glass or getting, you know, losing body parts or whatever things those may be, getting eaten by witches. This card is the Moon. Look how beautiful these are. You know, they're really, really intricate. And these are the kind of cards that I find, you know, the more detailed the card is. I mean, at first glance, do you even see the moon? You got to look a little bit further. You know, the moon is here. It's this whole beautiful scene with these water lilies down here and these people under this gazebo. And we also see the moon right up here, and just this beautiful intricate border, which I find so gorgeous. So a card like this really lends itself to doing a one card reading, where you don't necessarily need to have an entire spread, but you can really, really delve into the story, and it invokes so much more of a mood, so much more of a feeling. And I feel like, especially for self-contemplation, sometimes if you're doing a reading for yourself, you don't have to form the message into actual words. All you need to do, this is the Sun, is see what kind of a feeling the card invokes for you. And I think that it's one of the things that when you're learning how to do readings is an important step. The venerable woman, this would be the High Priestess. Yes, she is there. One of the things that you need to learn is you can do readings for yourself for years. This was the state with myself. You know, I started doing readings when I was 16 years old, when I got my first tarot deck. I didn't become a professional tarot reader until the age of 34. So that's almost 20 years difference, where I might have done a reading for people very, very rarely in between there. But even though I was so familiar with the cards, I knew all of the symbols, I knew how to extract a message for myself. It's a totally different thing. Here's the Empress. When you have to translate the message to another person, and you can maybe look at a card and go, oh, I totally get what that means for myself in my mind. But if you had to explain it to somebody else, that's something different completely. Can you guys guess which card this is? Probably, right? It's the Chariot. You can see it there. So these are just beautiful. Do I say that too much on these videos? The cards are so beautiful. I'm kind of enraptured, as you can tell. Let's look at some minors. So here are the chalices, which are the cards of the cups. I'll show you the one, the ace and the two. And you can see, like we see in a lot of decks, that the color scheme is specific to the suit. So they have this beautiful blue border, and it reminds me of that beautiful turquoise temple. I sometimes see that on my Instagram feed. So we see, oh, this is reminiscent of the image that you know. Look at the Four of Cups. This guy is sitting underneath the tree there, and again, just really gorgeous edges. But one of the things I've told you guys in the past, in some kind of cards where the image goes right up to the edge of the card, that can be nice because when you lay a bunch of cards out, it helps to be able to create one entire story. That's the Ten of Cups. If there is no outside border, all of the pictures can kind of create one big tapestry, and you can look at it that way. But when there is a specific border, it does make these scenes, it separates the scenes out a little bit more. And so, as I said, that can be part of why these cards could be more useful to be looked at just individually, or even to do a single card spread. Here are the Pentacles. Here are the Six and Seven of Pentacles, and they're just fantastic. I can only imagine how long this would have taken this artist to do all of these paintings, and they appear to be maybe like oil paintings. Are they watercolors? They might even be watercolor paintings. They're so intricate, it's hard for me to tell, but I believe maybe they're watercolor. Now if you look at this, this is the Eight of Pentacles, and I don't know if this will pick up on camera, but you can see these guys in the forge here making some, pouring some metal, maybe making a gold coin there. But look at this disc that's laying down here right on the ground. Can you see that there is some sacred geometry? It's very light, but there's some sacred geometry right there on that shield. Very cool. Little mandala there. And the pentacles do seem to have a lot to do with gold, maybe with gold making, which makes sense since pentacles correspond to things of value, material things. Here is the suit of wands. Look at the Four of Wands. These are works of art, you guys. They are just truly beautiful. And one of the reasons why I was drawn to these cards, not only are they just gorgeous, but they also, I thought that they might remind me a little bit of the deck that I read for my clients with, which is a rare deck called the Kazanlar deck. It's hard to find because it's out of print, but it has a little bit of a similar feel where the imagery is very cultural. It has all different kinds of traditions in it, and it has beautiful borders. And let's see, we're still on the wands here, so I'm just gonna go through and show you guys a few more. Here are the swords. There's the Two of Swords. And I'm sure that it would be wonderful to have the actual 1001 Nights book as a reference for this. At any time that you can use original source material, look how cool that one is. Which one is this? The Five of Swords we see there, which is kind of interesting because you see this building with these 5 windows around the door, right? And I'll go ahead and show you the back of these cards as well. Is very beautiful. This was completely unintentional that I painted my fingernails to match the deck. I didn't know that was going to happen. They kind of have, you know, the borders, they're very much like a Persian carpet, which apparently, like, I do like those. As you can see, I'm sitting on one. So I'm really, really excited excited about these cards, you guys. I think that they're so gorgeous. And as I said, I know I say that I say that a lot, but that's why this is a passion of mine. And I love when cards are created with just stunning, stunning, beautiful artwork. I'm not the hugest fan of this whole upper white border with the name of the cards there in 4 languages. The whole point of having the, you know, when we have a wand right here, the reason why, and this is, I guess this is a theory, this is not necessarily a fact, but it's a widely respected theory that part of why tarot was created, why the symbols were created, was to have a symbolic language that could be understood by people who spoke different languages. For instance, in ancient times, when scholars would be converging in a specific place in the world, whether it was Alexandria or whether it was Florence, Italy, you know, or whether it was Fez, Morocco, wherever there was a juncture of philosophers, of men of letters, and people coming together to discuss these kind of deep scientific or philosophical ideas. If they are not speaking the same language, they need to have some kind of way to understand, you know, what are we talking about. And so for that, you know, symbols are very useful. So I think, you know, if we all understand this is the 10 of Wands, why does it have to say wands in 4 different languages? No, I can understand if it's, you know, maybe a court card that's a little bit harder to determine, or the majors, but I just find it unnecessary. You know, it takes up space and it just kind of detracts a little bit from the gorgeousness that is the imagery of the card. But other than that, these cards rather, they're very nice quality. These are the kind of cards that would last a long time. They would shuffle well. It's a standard size deck, so it's going to be easy to shuffle. And I have been thinking about actually, after doing these sort of spontaneous openings of these decks, that I may end up actually doing kind of a follow-up video after I've done a reading. But if you want to see these cards further through a spread or further interpretation, you can actually check that out over on my Instagram. So if you follow me on Instagram, it's Naha99, Naha99, and I will link all of that below. But thanks for opening the Tarot of 1001 Nights with me, and I'll see you guys next time. Make sure to please subscribe to my channel. Give this video a like. It helps more people to find the channel, and please share it with your friends. Bye.